Good morning. This is Tiffany at Dynamite-Acres, and I just wanted to show you how I give my hens calcium. I have over 200 laying hens right now, and I have 150 upcoming chicks. Now my chicks are separated from my hens until my chicks start laying, and this is one of the reasons why I keep my chicks separated, or my pullets separated from my hens. I don't want my pullets to have this much calcium too early. If you give your pullets calcium too early, it can cause them to start laying earlier than they should, and when they start laying earlier than they should, they're prone to all kinds of problems like egg impactions, prolapse, those sorts of things. I keep them separated so that I can give the extra calcium supplements I need to my hens. If you watched my video on fermenting grain, you'll see that I do a 4-day fermentation, but I only have 3 containers. That is because day 4, I feed my girls calcium. Now my hens do have oyster shells available to them. I bought 50 pounds well over a year ago, and I'm still using the same 50 pounds. They just don't really eat the oyster shells, and I'm pretty sure it's because I give them this raw goat's milk. Now, just like anything else, you can overdo it. Make sure you're paying attention to how much raw milk you give your hens and how many hens you have. Again, this is raw milk. I don't give them very much or anything that's been processed through the store. So if I have like cottage cheese or anything like that, it's a very, very small amount of a processed dairy. However, this raw milk is super good for them. There's no extra chemicals in it. This raw milk is still good. Like I could still make cheese or cottage cheese or some sort of cream out of it, but I don't have time in my schedule to process all of the extra milk that I have. So this is a great alternative. It's super good for my hens, and I have eggs that are super hard shelled. They're very, very strong, healthy eggs. So just some personal policies. I do not feed it to them cold. These unfortunately got frozen, so this jar is even broken. So I definitely wouldn't want to use that one for human consumption. So I'm just waiting for it to melt, and then I will strain it to make sure there's no glass in it. But what I do is let it get to room temperature, or at least almost room temperature. I never feed it to them when it's super hot outside. So it's pretty early right now. It's about 6:30. I'm going to let this sit out on the counter for probably about an hour, let it get to room temperature, and then I'm going to feed it right away. I also never feed it at night. In fact, I don't feed my hens at all at night. I feel like when I feed them at night, then that causes them to get up off the roosts and they fight. So I always feed in the morning, mid-morning, or even early afternoon if I'm just putting grain out. But the dairy, I don't ever feed when it's hot, and I don't feed the dairy itself super cold. I don't ever want to shock their systems. So I'm going to let it sit out and get to room temperature, and then I'm actually going to just dump it into what I call my chicken bucket. So these are my beautiful scraps from the kitchen. There's some egg shells. So as I was creating eggs yesterday, some of them I was maybe a little rough with my thumb in them, or they were broken from the hens or from the basket. I do feed my eggs and my eggshells to my hens raw. I have never had a problem with them eating their own eggs. I mean, if the egg breaks, they're going to eat it. But as far as like attacking the egg and breaking it themselves, I've never had that problem. My mama, she fed our eggs to our hens raw, and we never had a problem all growing up, all the hundreds of chickens we had when I was growing up on the property. So I know that some people prefer, some say you have to cook them. Personally, I think it's a preference, and maybe it's a bird personality. I don't know, but I've never had a problem. So these are actually just raw eggs that broke as I was processing eggs, or eggshells left over from making dinner last night. I just throw them in the bucket. And so I'm actually just going to pour this once it gets to room temperature right in the bucket, and it gets up about 3/4 of the way. I feed anywhere from 2 to 2.5 gallons, so it'll be 2 and a little bit more today, to my hens. That averages out to about 2 to 5 tablespoons of milk per hen. And I will give them lots of surface area to be able to get to the milk, so that one group of hens can't just hoard the whole milk bowl. All right, well, I'm going to let this warm up, and then I'll take you out to the hen house and show you how the girls like it. All right, so I put the milk out in their bowls. As you can see, they love it. There are 5 pans outside in their flight pen, and then 2 more inside of the coop so they can spread out. As you can see, they're still like after the chicken bucket too. They love milk days. They get pretty excited. Spoiled girls. That's the way we like it. As you can see, they have a swing. They have all kinds of things out here to play on. That's it for today. Thanks for checking in. Let us know if you have any questions, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.